Hi, this is Carl Polachek with Small Biz Thoughts, and this is another SOP video for managed service providers. Today, I want to give you a note about one of my favorite books, The 1 Minute Manager by Spencer Johnson and Ken Blanchard. The reason I end up referring people to this book again and again and again is that it is probably the clearest, thinnest, fastest advice that you can get on how to help motivate your employees by correcting their mistakes. One of my favorite quotes from this book is that people who feel good about themselves produce good results. We all know we all make mistakes. That's part of being human. But how do you handle mistakes? You can't tell people, don't make mistakes. Stop being human. That's not really going to go very far. You have humans as employees, and as long as that's true, mistakes will happen. But think about what happens when mistakes are handled wrong. If people are afraid to bring mistakes to you, then they ignore them or they hide them or they, plaster over them. They try to do something else. And I've had employees make some really big mistakes, and I'm sure you have too. One of my biggest rules is that I never chastise people for making mistakes. Mistakes come usually because people don't have training, or there's a blank spot in our standard operating procedures and they didn't know what to do and they made the wrong decision. Sometimes it's that they don't have enough experience, or they don't have experience directly related to the thing that they're dealing with. And sometimes it's literally just, they had a bad day, right? But here's the problem. If you chastise them, if you abuse them, if you drive mistakes underground, they will cost you more money in the long run. Great example is one time I had a technician who it was not his job to sign for boxes, but there was a delivery, he was there, the office manager was out, and without counting boxes, he signed a delivery invoice. And it turns out we had a server missing from the pile. We had a server that retail value was about $7,000. And the distributor said, well, we got a signature that says you got the server. I count the boxes. There's no such server. And I could not, in good conscience, berate the employee for not knowing what the office manager does when she signs for packages, for not knowing how you take a delivery in a business like that. It was not his job. Now, should he have done something different? Obviously. Should he have asked somebody for help? Obviously. Right? It's all obvious when you're not the person who's making the mistake. So I took him aside and I said, look, here's what we have to do. And then we formalized the process that we go through to accept delivery, and we print it all up and we posted it next to where the deliveries go, because most of the time, no one other than the office manager is ever going to take those deliveries or sign for them. But everybody needs to be able to look up at a very small checklist and see what they need to do. It's really pretty straightforward if you already know. Now, the reason I say that's an example of not hiding mistakes is what happens if I berated him and now we've created this adversarial environment, and then I say, okay, so let's go through this. Tell me what happened. Well, now he's completely on the defensive, and I may not get a complete story or an accurate story. Partly that I'm going to diminish accuracy by putting so much pressure on him. So I'm like, okay, you're not going to lose your job. So that's the first thing. You are not going to lose your job. But we need to make sure that we know what happened. We need to try to find that server. We need to engage the distributor on our behalf, even though they have a signature. They are also a company built with human beings, right? And we're going to work through this, and we're going to figure out, and we're going to document what needs to be done going forward. So we turn everything into a forward-facing thing, and you know, it was months. It was literally, I think, 3 months later that we finally got the distributor to look and realize how they had bundled the servers when they left their loading dock and then go to UPS and find out what the server bundle looked like when it got loaded onto the truck. Never did find the server, but we got a credit for it because it was something where we could document through the video that they found that it was lost before it got to us, and that a bundle had come apart. Why they strapped 2 servers together, I have no idea. It's not my problem. But the bottom line is that you have to treat employees as part of your team who are motivated to help you push things in the right direction, right? And you know, they need to know that you are on their side and that they're not going to lose their job for mistakes. Now, most mistakes are tiny. Most mistakes are that somebody doesn't know how to do something, but they do it anyway, and it costs you $100 or $200 or $400. But those mistakes can add up really, really fast. So you need to do corrections. The other thing I love about this book is that it points out the absolute need to constantly be talking about goals. Having an open discussion about what the goals are for the year, for the quarter, for the month, for the week, for the day. And this needs to not be something where there's an adversarial relationship. Again, we're all on the same team, but you need to set up goals. It could be as simple as show up for work on time or get all of your time entered into the system, put your notes in the PSA in real time, right? Whatever the goals are, you need to have quarterly goals. I have long believed that a single annual review of an employee is approximately the most worthless thing that you could ever have in your company. I've worked at companies that had them. They were stupid then, they're stupid now. Quarterly is good, but remember, the quarterly goals and the quarterly evaluation are really just guidelines so that every single day you can remind people of what their goals are and help them make those corrections. You may have seen the DART project to crash a spaceship or a satellite into the Dimorphos asteroid. Really cool footage. Go look it up on YouTube. It's pretty amazing. The last few seconds are pretty amazing. But think about this project. This spacecraft was flying through outer space for 10 months, so it could travel 7 million miles, and they only stopped making quote-unquote mid-course corrections 5 minutes before impact. In other words, they had gone 7 million miles, and when they were about 1,000 miles away is when they stopped making mid-course corrections, because they were sure they were going to hit the middle of the asteroid. Now, when you think about that, you talk about making tiny, tiny corrections every day, every week, every month for 10 months so that you can go 7 million miles and hit an asteroid that is not even 550 feet across. It's a very impressive thing, but you only hit your goal with thousands of little corrections. And that's why the 1 Minute Manager is so beautiful, because it basically says, here's a formula for giving constant feedback. You know, if somebody has a problem doing something right, they need to be reminded, hey, are you working on it? Are you doing it? Is it front of mind? Is it something that you're thinking about? And hey, you did that really well. When something is done really great, you need to say, that's what I'm looking for. That's exactly what I need you to do every day. And then when they do it wrong, you say, oh, no. See, here's why we need to be done the other way. You did this. This is what it needs to look like. You're getting better. You're making progress. You're heading in the right direction. But we really need the high quality every time. And that way you are literally cheering them on and helping them to do their job better. This is literally the exact opposite of what most people do, which is that they treat employment goals as if it's some kind of a pop quiz. As an instructor, I taught college for 10 years. I've always been opposed to pop quizzes. I think, again, it's one of the stupidest things that people ever do. I don't want students to guess about what's important. And I certainly don't want employees to guess what I want them to do, what I expect, what kind of behavior I want, what kind of performance I want, what kind of documentation I want, what kind of client interaction I want. I don't want them to guess about that. I want them to know what we expect and to practice it and to get better every single day. And that comes with 1 million mid-course corrections, so that, over the course of 10 months, they will have made thousands of corrections, and they will be doing what they should be doing, which makes them feel good about their job because it increases their success rate. It increases their competence. It increases their confidence. It makes them feel good about themselves and their job, and that helps them build your brand of customer service. Some things to think about. This is a thin little book, The 1 Minute Manager. Go get a copy. It's on Kindle. It's on paperback. It's probably at every used bookstore on earth. Go get it. Read it. It's a super quick read, and I promise it will improve your business. Put feedback down below. Please like and share this video, and subscribe to the channel. That really helps us with the good old YouTube algorithm. For Small Biz Thoughts, this is Carl Palachuk wishing you the best of luck in everything you do.